He says, my fiance and I are struggling with if we should get a prenup or not. She makes about double what I make, but has no invested assets yet. I have $70K in invested assets, but make much less. We are both 29. Thoughts on this is a tricky question, right?
It reminds me, and I'm going to screw this up because I'm the old one who my kids are older, so I don't do the fables and all that stuff. But what is it like the person she gives up her mirror and he gives up, it's like this couple.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's that fable where they give up they give up their favorite thing for somebody they love, and then they find out that they both did it, and it doesn't really fit. But it's just, they're the opposites here. Is that you got one that makes a great income. Do you see what I'm saying here? You got one that makes a great income. I've screwed it all up. But here, let me get to the point.
I'm excited to see it land.
Bo will save this. She makes a great income. He has money from some source. That is a strange dynamic. And that's probably Bo. I'll let Bo do the heavy lift here, but some of this is relationship stuff too.
Yeah. So when do we most often see prenuptial agreements used? It's when two people come into a marriage and one or the other, maybe both, have substantial assets that they have accumulated and accrued pre-marriage, and they just want to make sure that what they brought into the marriage kind of stays separated, so that if something were to not work out and it were to dissolve, that those assets would be protected. That generally has to do with assets that you've built up, not future building or future earning potential.
Yeah, so income doesn't typically, that's prenup. That's not prenup territory.
Yeah, even though she makes double what you make, once you guys get married and you begin building assets jointly and you begin saving together and working towards common goals, that's all kind of like household property. That's likely all going to be joint property, all the wealth that you guys create. So income and future income is less of a consideration over assets. Now, you said, hey, I'm bringing to this equation $70,000 of assets, and she has not yet built those up. Well, 29, I don't want to discount this. $70,000 is a lot of money. If you go to moneyguy.com/resources, check out a wealth multiplier, dump $70,000 into that at age 29 and see what it can turn into. It's huge. It's significant. It's substantial based on what it can grow into. But as it stands right now today, I would not argue that that's like a huge sum of money necessarily to be bringing into the marriage. And so when I look at your situation, whether or not to have a prenuptial agreement, the finances and the mathematics, in my mind, don't play in as much as the relational aspect. Where do you both feel comfortable? I don't know that this is one where I look at this and see a slam dunk and say, yeah, this absolutely makes sense. It's more, I would ask the question, why? Why are you having the conversation? What is it that you are both nervous about? And perhaps let's deal with that nervous thing first before we think about putting the legal agreement in place that maybe is only addressing a symptom and not the root cause of the issue.
You're being nice. I'm just going to put it out there. This is my opinion. I don't see a prenup issue here. I know, but here's what you're not saying that needs to be said, because this works both ways. I don't care who makes the money, whether in the dynamic of a relationship, money is nothing more than a tool.
That's right.
But I have seen this, and it drives me crazy, and I talk about this on the show, is that you will find in a marriage, if this is going to be a lifetime marriage, I've been married close to 30 years, one of your careers is going to do something the others doesn't. And if everybody's keeping score based upon what they earn, there's power to that. And do you see how you're using this tool of money as a blunt instrument in the relationship? That's not a healthy thing, because how does that? I've seen that dynamic work in multiple ways. And I've tried to counsel friends, neighbors, is because when you're holding the purse strings because you make the money and you're separating everything and you're making your spouse come to you for every dollar, that's not healthy. I mean, it's just not. It's mine, and I don't like that. That might be different than what a lot of people think in this new modern world, but I just don't think two becoming one. That is a healthy thing. I've tried to do everything in my power to take the power of who earns the money out of our relationship so that our dynamic stays healthy. And I worry this might be a deeper conversation that needs to be had, is why is a prenup needed for either one of you even considering it? Because Earning potential shouldn't do it. That's going to become marital property just because it was earned during the marriage. Your assets, yeah, it's decent. Now, look, if
I bet a bunch of it's retirement assets, probably.
I mean, it's probably retirement. Now, look, if it's inherited property, there are some legal protections as well as money you're bringing in the marriage. But I mean, that's something y'all need to have a conversation, because power should not. Money as a tool should not be a blunt instrument of power in a healthy relationship.